I'm Jason from Smoking and Drinking in Space, a sci-fi podcast from a couple guys who think they know sci-fi.
And I'm Rob from Smoking and Drinking in Capes, a superhero podcast from a couple guys who wish they had powers.
And we're part of the GonnaGeek network, just like the show you're checking out now.
Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others.
And you can find other cool, awesome, geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Welcome to episode 52 of Better Podcasting Live Chat. I am Steven. I'm pleased to say the non-Muppet SP is here.
Yeah, what was that? It was like a cross between Kermit and Grover or whatever. I don't know what that was. I don't know about you, but I have been suffering from some of that stupid Canadian wildfire smoke that's you guys have been sending down here to poison all of us Americans.
No comment first. Secondly, it's the East and not the West. And so I let me look right now. I'm from the GonnaGeek Better Podcasting Studios, looking at the live weather. It's blue sky.
Well, it's kind of bluish here, but it's all haze, and if you go to the weather quality, the air quality, it's just the worst. And I say this to say that right before this, I just mowed my backyard under a warning to not go outside. So if I have some problems breathing or my voice starts to go, it's because of you all's wildfire smoke.
That's fine. We'll take the heat on that. Literally. So we're here with another episode of the Better Podcasting Live Chat. If you haven't checked this out before, this is our loosey-goosey podcast where we talk somewheres between in the neighborhood of 30 to 60 minutes randomly about podcasting. And we have a live chat room. We usually stream this live on Wednesdays at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time. That's 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes it's a few minutes late when you add in the smoke variable, but we do stream to Geeks.Live. However, next week we won't actually have an episode. Just putting that out there right here, right now. We will not be recording on July 5th, meaning there will not be a release around July 9th and possibly the week after. It just depends. If we do have a show, you will be in luck because I will not be there.
No, I think is that the solo show that I'm supposed to be doing?
If you want to, but you know, we'll set the bar low, set the expectations low, see what happens, and then
let's put it this way: if the Canadian smoke doesn't disable my voice and my lungs, there's a possibility that I will come back in 2 weeks.
All right. Do you know what won't be coming back in 2 weeks?
Well,
Stitcher.
Technically not true because we've got till August 29th, but yeah, Stitcher is going away.
What? Tell me about this, SP.
Yeah, they sent out some emails, and I have forever been trying to reconcile my Stitcher accounts, and I finally just gave up, right? So I got like 3 different emails from Stitcher, and they all start with Dear Stitcher Content Creators. So they sent me 3 emails to say the same thing. To the same email address, too, by the way. So they have decided to discontinue operations of the Stitcher app and website effective August 29th, 2023. This includes our Stitcher Premium service. And I can't for the life of me remember what that is, but okay. They did say that they were going to transition to a Sirius XM podcast platform. I tend to believe it's along the lines of maybe iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, that sort of thing. And to be honest, if you take a look at your stats and you have more than 1.5% of your downloads on Stitcher, you probably have something wrong with your distribution. Because if you take a look at the distribution to Stitcher on multiple different stat reporting places, it's under 1.5%. It's not going to affect you completely. I mean, if you have 100 people, that just means one person is going to have to find a new place to listen to you.
Yeah, I was so glad when you told me this because I actually didn't get the email, and I don't know why I didn't get the email, but I didn't. So I was happy when you informed me about this. Not a big deal. I suspect at what we think of as Stitcher now won't be what we see in the new Sirius XM app thing that's coming, that they said is coming. I suspect there's got to be a reason that they're looking to roll it in. My guess would be a more restricted content, maybe a little different advertising, maybe a way to elevate some more affiliated SiriusXM shows, maybe not own shows, but maybe something that there's some form of partnership. I just don't see them eliminating this whole thing to just basically create a new version of the old app in another app. I think there's got to be some big changes here, but we'll see.
So in their FAQs in the email, they said that the links will be redirected towards their sister app, Pandora. I didn't know that Pandora was a sister app of Stitcher. Is Pandora owned by SiriusXM? I think they might be. So both Stitcher and Pandora, it was kind of competing anyway then. So anyway, the other thing is that,
yep,
as you said,
it's owned by SiriusXM Holdings.
Yeah. The other thing is that it's not going to be available. The new app, I think you just said that the new app is not going to be available for a while. So I don't know. We'll see how it all pans out. And our third co-host, Damien the DM, said, don't discount those halves of a person, SP. So I was saying 1.5%. So 100 people, is that it'd be 0.5%. I actually have a heartburn on that because this is part of my job of what I do is account for the total number of people that are on a project, that sort of thing. And everybody wants to go down to the point whatever of a person. And I'm like, okay, that's fine in project management. But when it comes to your employment payroll, you don't have 0.5 of a person. You don't have 0.2 of a person. You have 10 people. That's what you have. You don't have 0.5s of people. Now, I know that there's some service industries that you buy like outside service contractors or whatever on, whatever percentage of a man year that you buy them at. But overall, no, you have 10 people a year. You have 10. You can't split a person.
Well, I disagree because this podcast is hosted by 2.25 people, and the extra quarter.
It's not a quarter person. It's an android. We've been discussing this for a while. Matter of fact,
that's true.
Waffles last time
true.
Had the thing about me saying 500. I swear I was going to go back into the transcripts. I swear I've actually said that before for $500.
I don't think so. Or if you did, it was in the back of my memory because I made that quote up in our Discord randomly. But that's not to say that, it's not deep seated in my memory and one day it'll come out in therapy. That very well could be. Just to talk about Pandora and Stitcher. Pandora was acquired in October of 2019 and Stitcher was acquired in July of 2020. And as a reminder, as far as I'm aware, Pandora is US only.
Yeah, for now. Is SiriusXM US only?
Because no, it's not, but Pandora is. And you talked about it rolling into the Pandora app, and Pandora is US only.
Is SiriusXM North America only?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I thought they were world.
I know how satellite transmissions work, and
generally... Do you really? Are you familiar with space technology?
I am. I've actually been inside. So I've seen some satellites that have done, satellite TV back in the day, and the antennas are outrageous because the antennas actually look like a silhouette of North America because they don't want the signals going out beyond the borders. So that's why you can't get satellite TV beyond the borders. Now, Starlink, of course, is changing a lot of that right now, but they have issues as well transmitting data. I don't want to get into that right now, but yes, I thought SiriusXM was North America only. If they're not, okay.
It might be. I don't know. I know they've got Canada. Maybe you're right. I don't know, and I don't care to Google any more than my Google foo is turning up short right now.
Do you agree with me that it's no big deal that Stitcher is going away?
I agree with you. I don't think it's a big deal. I always found it very cumbersome as well to deal with. It's one less thing that's out there. In fact, I think a lot of these piddly services should probably go away, if I'm being honest. I think that if you're looking at this and you've got Stitcher and it's like, 1% of the market share, and then you've got another service which is like 1%. Why are they even doing podcast stuff anymore? Like, you've been around a while, you failed at it. It's not worth your revenue, your money invested into it anymore. Just like do what Stitcher's doing and go away.
Yeah. So the statistics that I've seen are that audio only. So we're not going to go down the YouTube rabbit hole right now, but audio only. It's like Apple Podcasts has like 60 or 70%. Then you go to Spotify, and depending on who you talk to, it's like 15 to 25%. And then everything else is like Stitcher was the biggest one. And then everything else beyond that is Stitcher or less. So, or Google Podcasts is a couple of percent in there too. So those are your three big ones: Apple Podcasts, the Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And beyond that, it doesn't really matter. And then you can add YouTube in there if you want, but that's it. Nobody else is really playing. And I agree. It's like, why are you doing this? Why? Even iHeartRadio is not big in podcasting.
In our chat, Damien the DM says Sirius XM. I'm throwing the XM on there for you. Sirius XM is US, Puerto Rico, and Canada.
So North America.
You're right. So you are,
but minus Mexico. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
So in any case, I look forward to the day that they remove my service. I don't actually look forward to that. I quite enjoy Sirius XM, if I'm being honest.
In your car?
Yeah, I listen to my car. Sometimes stream it at home.
And you don't stream anything on your phone, through your phone?
Sometimes I stream the app through my phone.
Yeah, okay. All right. By the way, I mentioned Waffles before, and I realized I listened back to the episode from last week, and Chris, I'm sorry. It sounded like I was dogging on you. I was all these, Damien's the third co-host, because we had said Damien. Waffles, if you want to be the fourth co-host of Better Podcasting, that's fine with me. I have to clear it with the robot Steven, but it's fine with me.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure Waffles will get you back with more AI voices. I think I can speak on his behalf.
I know it's coming. I just gave him access to some other stuff too. So I know things are not going to go well.
So I was talking a second ago about how I stream Sirius XM, and I wanted to talk actually a little bit about the idea of streaming from your phone, because, you know, when we started talking about talking on Better Podcasting about the idea of mobile podcasting, we talked about how it was such an uphill battle to be able to do it reliably and with enough data and whatnot. And that is still very much the case in many parts of the world, and I want to respect that. But in some parts of the world, I have personally noticed, this is my observation, it seems like as the 5G services are rolling out, a lot of the data plans are heavily increasing the amount of data they're giving on cell phone plans, at least up here. And it seems to me, I from what I've seen randomly, the whole data amount seems to be going up higher in the US as well. But in Canada, a good example of that was a few years ago. It was like you were lucky to getting, like 5 gigs a month in data. And my current plan that I just signed up for is 100, and for $10 more, I can get 150 gigs of data. So like, if I really wanted to be able to mobile podcast, obviously video is another aspect of it, but if it was just audio and I was regularly doing it over my phone, maybe the occasional video or whatever, that's a lot to play with. And the speeds are quite fast now. So I wanted to mention that because there's a big difference between having 5 gigs of data on your phone and having 100 gigs per month if you want to try to remotely just use your cell phone connection to stream or record. So
yeah, or upload a video, even like even a 1080 video or 4K video or something like that, because some people, the younger crowd especially, are able to do a lot of the production on like an iPad, versus which they have mobile plans for, right? So you can do that, or their phones. A lot of younger people, the only thing they have is their phones, so they don't want to do anything else, so they just use their phones. I still have an issue with, there are still places in the United States that don't have great coverage.
And that's why I started this whole conversation recognizing that, because I absolutely share that same concern. 100%. It's amazing how many people you can, go like 20 minutes out of a city and it's like they're living in the 2000s.
I am going to the family lake home tomorrow. And yes, we have internet and Wi-Fi at the lake home, so that's not a big deal. But like if I go up to the shed to work out, it's out of Wi-Fi range. And now you're dealing with your connection to your cell service. Now, fortunately, I have spotty service up there with my Verizon plan. Most of my family up there is on T-Mobile, and they don't get any service up there at all. So yeah, there have been trips out into the middle of the lake just to get cell service, to go back and forth on certain things. Um, so yes, I know of a place personally where this is an issue. And if we didn't have Wi-Fi there, if we didn't have a building there, like if we were on a campsite or something like that, yeah, we would be suffering. So as far as podcasting for that, I mean, you have mobile devices, but you're talking specifically about live streaming.
No, I'm talking
And
either or. I'm talking like, let's say that I was going away camping and I do have good cell phone service. And I was like, I'm going to still record an episode. I'm gone for a while. I'll still record an episode with SP. I could feasibly hotspot into it if I had decent service, which where I do like to go, I usually do. So.
Right. So if you're streaming though, you would need some sort of connection period to be able to stream video.
Yeah.
Nobody listens to audio streamed anymore, I believe, in podcasting. I think it's all video, like Twitch or YouTube, or I don't know what else people do these days. I like everybody else is like shutting down their streaming stuff, like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. But Instagram, but it's all the same. You have to have a certain data to go up, and they're all just assuming that you have that data everywhere. I think eventually that the data will be available, because like even my phone, I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max. It has satellite capability. Now, mostly it's there to do 911 calls wherever you're at, right?
Right.
But I think eventually what you're going to get when you have all these satellite companies like Starlink and OneWeb and just the different companies that are trying to go at what Starlink is doing right now, eventually you'll be able to connect to the satellite constellations and your phone will literally be a sat phone. I think we're in the era where back in the 80s and 90s, where people had car phones that were attached to their cars basically, and you had like 15-minute plans to call back and forth, and your car had to be running in order to power the phone and that sort of thing. I think we're at that point now with sat phones, because this phone that I'm holding in my hand right now is an early sat phone. And 10 years from now, we'll all have sat phones, and it won't matter. I think the coverage won't, unless you're underground, I guess. If you're spelunking, which is, code for caving. If you're caving, then yeah, that's going to be an issue.
Well, I look forward to podcasting through space.
Why not? I mean, we could. Elon is, on the horn with me every other day saying, hey, SP, do you want to go up in space and podcast back and forth with the robot Steven? And I say, okay, you know what, let's get the thing safe first, and then I'll think about it.
It really will be a better world when I no longer actually podcast and it's just AI. That really will be better.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Ugh.
Hey, so let's change the topics here. In our chat, just a short time ago, Damien actually made a post in the Better Podcasting Discord channel over at betterpodcasting.com/Discord. And he went, Steven, Jondrew, you trendsetter, you. And what he linked to was that apparently Razer has come out with ergonomic in-ear monitors that are THX certified. This is from the Razer company. You've probably seen them doing some different gaming and whatnot. And the quote, presenting the Razer Moray ergonomic in-ear monitor, THX certified sound for gamers and streamers, end quote. And then I'll quote the next paragraph, which says, with high fidelity audio, superior noise isolation, and ultimate comfort, Razer ventures into new territory catering to gamers and marathon streamers, end quote again. So anyways, I don't know. It's interesting. Razer's had a couple of products I think that have come up on our radar in the podcast world. I think they have a microphone or something like that. Maybe I'm mixing them up with somebody else.
Like Mixer?
But yeah, so now obviously I think I'll have to check them out at some point.
Yeah, I do like this way forward. I have the Apple Pods Pro, whatever they're called.
The AirPods Pro.
AirPods Pro, second generation. And I had the first generation. I had the first generation, but one of the earbuds stopped working. So it just happened at the point where the second generation was actually available. So I bought the second generation instead. And interesting to note there. So I'm out in my backyard getting ready to mow. I put them in for the noise canceling and I throw on a podcast and it happened to be a better podcasting podcast. And I tried to listen to it and my pods connected to the TV that was in the great room instead. I was like, this is new. I've never had this happen before. So apparently my AirPods are now linked to the TV and I don't know how to turn that one off or anything. It was just really weird. I was in my backyard listening to my TV. I was like, what the heck? So I had to reconnect the AirPods to the phone and start playing the podcast again. And it worked. But my point there is that the noise, the capability of the AirPods are actually, in my opinion, pretty decent. I know it's heavily processed, right? So I don't know if these would be processed or if these would be more like studio monitors where it's supposed to, be a flat response, except for the noise isolation in there. So that is my concern with these little things, is that you're getting processed sound and not actual sound.
Well, the noise isolation on in-ear monitors is usually not active noise cancellation. That's usually because they're going into your ears and fitting in. That's usually the noise isolation that they're referring to. And I don't see anything about noise cancellation. So I think it's probably more studio monitor-like. That would be my educated guess.
And that would be the same cost as a good pair of like Shure's that I'm wearing right now. Yeah. 130, 140. Well, that's 130 USD and 150. Is that British pounds there?
I don't know. The Moray features a hybrid dual driver acoustic design pairing a balanced armature driver for crystal clear trebles with dynamic driver for deep, rich bass. That sounds like a lot of headphone speak.
Yeah. Damien in the chat saying for streamers, they have a streamer-oriented mic and a loop deck clone.
Right. And yes, it does say passive noise isolation. So it's not, at least not with the noise cancellation. There's no noise cancellation. So,
well, I can see, this whole thing. We've been talking about it for years where I have an ear problem. So I prefer when I'm trying to hear to use my actual studio over the ear monitors, studio monitors, but you prefer the look of in-ear monitors and have for quite some time. You're prioritizing video, and I don't blame you.
And to be honest,
is bad.
And to be honest, I prefer the comfort of them. I every time I've thrown on a pair of headphones, they're off very quickly. I find these to be more comfortable, but
I mean, when I'm editing, I prefer to throw it on the studio monitors, the speakers, versus the headphones. I will throw the headphones on if I need to, but and if somebody's outside that door and they want to read or watch TV or whatever, I'm not going to take their enjoyment away just because I've got the sounds of the editing, which can be so. I don't know about you, but way back in the day before I started editing, I was hearing somebody edit. I wasn't actually writing shotgun or whatever, but I was in the same house and I was hearing the edit, and it bugged the crap out of me. The amount of times he had to go back and play the same thing over and over and over again. Right. And I don't give it a second thought. I just go ahead and do it now. And it's just the thought occurred to me like this week or last week is like, oh, I'm doing exactly what bugged me 15 years ago.
That's funny. Well, you should do? Add an extra set of speakers. Let everybody really hear it.
Just position them throughout the house.
I think so, you know?
Yeah, why not, right? And make sure everybody's painfully aware of the amount of times that you laugh and I have to take that out.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear me laugh.
No, nobody. It's just a funky Canadian that's hopped up on beer and maple syrup.
Yeah, let's go with that. We've also, by the way, in our chat, apparently I've been popular in the Discord. We had Damien the DM once again say, "Yo, Stephen Jondrew, apparently the RCP2 is 23% off on Amazon in Canada." And I think he said it exactly like that. I don't know why, but he did.
It was still like $900 Canadian or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did look it up, and it was it was like $800 plus taxes.
It's very, very. It's just it's an expensive piece of gear.
It's off sale now, but it was $719 plus taxes is what it was.
This is what I say about the Rodecaster Pro 2. If it works as advertised, it's an incredible machine, right? Because you're saving literally thousands of dollars, because you're talking about 4 independent channels that have DSP plus other, like the Bluetooth and the sound pads and stuff like that. And it's all in this little thing, and it'll record multi-track, and you can control it. Although it's a small screen, you can control it there, and you can take it mobile, and it could be everything that you need. So if it's working properly, it's a dang good machine, and it's probably worth what it is. As a hobbyist, I would like for it to be a couple $100 cheaper than it is, honestly. But it is good, and this means that in a couple of years, this type of technology will be a couple $100 cheaper. So it'll be more accessible to more people, in my opinion. We'll see if that comes true or not. That's my prediction in June of 2023. But the amount of problems that I've had with it, it's a lot of money to throw into something that you might have to RMA.
Yeah, and I didn't say it in that many words, but that was basically what I had responded back. I think I had just actually said with the issues you've had, but that's where I was coming from with it. Was just I can't justify that at this point, going even at that good of a deal, spending that type of money for the reason you said, maybe having to RMA it. And it's a shame, because it, like you said, on paper, it's a great machine.
In a couple years, we'll probably see the Rodecaster Pro 3 or competitors get up to that point of Rodecaster Pro 3. And yeah, I'd advocate, if you have something now, I'd advocate waiting. And you have several somethings now. So there's no reason for you to jump on this.
Hey, question for you.
Yeah.
What do you do with Apple Podcasts episode numbers?
So there's this now deleted Reddit post over on the Reddits, and it was talking about somebody couldn't see their Apple Podcast episode numbers, and even though they had put their episode numbers in their media host, and they didn't have the episode numbers in their specific Apple title, which is different than your title for your show. It's a separate title. And they're saying, no, episode numbers can no longer be seen there. Now, the episode tag, I believe, was in Apple's revisions of what they would tag their RSS with in 2017. I'm pretty sure it was at WWDC in 2017, I think. And they said, put the episode numbers there, and we will make sure that we display the episodes there. This is with episodic shows, not the serial shows. So if you have a show with seasons, this is not an issue, because they still will throw the episode number in there. But if you have an episodic show, like Better Podcasting is episodic, like Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is episodic. So I have 475 episodes out there labeled 1 through 475 on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those do not show anymore in Apple Podcasts. So the question is, what are you supposed to do? I mean, we were told not to use the episode numbers in the Apple title, because that's why they wanted a separate title in Apple. They'd say, okay, I don't care what anybody else lets you do. For Apple, we don't want the episode number there. So it's not in that title. They're not showing the main title. I mean, is it okay now because they removed that to show the episode numbers in the Apple podcast title again? And if so, do we have to go back now all this time for those of us that have been podcasting since 2017 and removed that? Do we have to go back and retitle all of our episodes in our RSS feed that have the specific Apple podcast title with episode numbers? I mean, geez. Now, our best practices have always been put like the abbreviation of your show, like Better Podcasting would be BP, with Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be LOS, and then the episode number, like LOS 475, like BP 280. That would at the end of the title. That has been our advice since 2017. I think that would still hold because the SEO would prioritize like the keywords in the title, for instance. But I still advocate actually putting episode numbers in the title. And this means that if this is true, I'm going to have to go back into all my episode titles in the Apple podcast titles. And for hundreds of episodes, put the title number back in. It's just a pain in the ass. Apple, I'm mad at you, Apple. I'm very, very mad at you because you said one thing in 2017. Now you're changing your mind in 2023. It's very annoying.
I think I still have the numbers all in my titles. I continue to, and have done so just because. And it's my take that if they don't like it, they can strip it.
They were removing podcasts for having episode numbers in the title back in 2017, 2018. So I guess it's just a new crop of people that say, yeah, it's okay. You can put episode numbers in there.
Yeah, I'd have to go look at the RSS feed that I have submitted because I think I have a different version of it submitted, but I'm pretty sure I still have the titles, the number in the title. But you're right. I remember that coming up.
So I don't have any more information than that. It just really bugged me. It was, like I said, a deleted post on Reddit. So, I'll try to look into it in 2 weeks, come back with any additional information that I have.
And you'll make sure that you report it live on Better Podcasting live chat with SP. Because you'll be by yourself. Hey, by the way...
You're never going to let me live that down, are you?
I don't know what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
One last thing that I wanted to throw in here was I had delayed I delayed a couple days this week of releasing the last episode, and that's because I've been very busy with a couple other things going on, and I felt bad about it because I know people you often like to listen to it on the Monday, and I did not have that out. I just released it last night, and again, we're recording this on Wednesday. And so I'm sorry to everybody. I wanted to say I had things come up. I did make the active decision on one of the days that I wasn't going to stay up and do it. And then the other day, things just got carried away. And I apologize. I know sometimes you like to have it out on time. And I know it's kind of crappy when you're expecting something and it does not release. But I still did prioritize my personal life over my podcast. And for that, I stand by my decision, but I still apologize nonetheless.
I think, well, let's just take it this philosophically, and I'm very conciliatory towards our listeners, and I'm sorry for that. If you run a show and it is a regular release on whatever time or whatever day, week, month, whatever, and then you miss it, and then nobody comes back to you and says, where's my show? And you probably have an audience issue where you need to, grow your audience, but your real life should take precedent in that particular case. Yes, you should strive to be on time and be cognizant of the listeners that you do have and try to keep them, maintain them, and grow your listeners. And for more information on that, you can go back to season 3 of the Better Podcasting main show. But don't sweat as a hobbyist. Don't sweat it. It's not a big deal. You might mention it at the end of the show, kind of like we are doing when you come back the next time. You don't have to. There's nothing that says you have to. If listeners are stating questions to you of where's the podcast, is everything okay, that sort of thing, then you should probably reach out to them and say, what's going on, basically. So I'm big into that. But yeah, as a hobbyist, prioritize your personal life. Trust me. Your podcast, unless you think you're going to be able to take it full time, it's not worth ruining your personal life over.
That was surprisingly nice towards me. I gave you the opportunity to just trash talk me and you didn't go for it. You can't be real. You must be the AISP.
No, you get one mistake the next time.
So thanks everybody for checking out this episode of Better Podcasting Live Chat. We hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to talk with us about podcasting outside of this show, you can go to betterpodcasting.com to find all of the shows there, as well as our contact information. Come to our Discord at betterpodcasting.com/Discord. You can also email podcast@betterpodcasting.com, or you can just, make yourself an AI, Steven and SP, and talk to them.
There's enough of our audio out there that somebody could probably make an imitation podcast quite easily.
Probably. Hey, by the way, before we go, why don't you plug Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, kind of feel bad about doing it since I talked about it as examples so much. But right now, if you are a Marvel Studios fan or a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, we are covering Secret Invasion. Now, I'm going to release episode 1 here in a couple of days. Episode 2 and 3 will be done together because I am taking a week off to go to the lake. And if you want to talk all about Secret Invasion or anything else, like the Across the Spider-Verse animation movie that came out lately for Sony, or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, hit us up over there. We appreciate hearing from you and what your take on the Marvel Cinematic Universe is.
Also in our chat, change of topic, back to prior topic. Johnny Pennington says, I believe numbers are helpful. I like them better myself as a listener. And then he said, Steven has been too busy to post because he was busy burning smoky wood to send to us in the US.
I'm blaming you on that.
I'm single-handedly responsible, not actually, legal disclaimer. All right, for episode number 52 of Better Podcasting Live Chat, I'm Steven saying no. I did not set the fires.
And I'm SP saying welcome to the new 52 of Better Podcasting Live Chat. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Oh, PTSD from that. Oh, bye.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Better Podcasting. You can find the full back catalog of Better Podcasting at betterpodcasting.com. If you're into geeky podcasts, please check out the other podcasts on the GonnaGeek Network at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. This show was produced and edited by Stephen Jondrew. Voice work was done by L.W. Salinas. Thanks again for listening or watching, and we hope to see you again next week.